Hey there, Julia here. Today, I am just going to show you guys what I grabbed at the recent Colorado Pen Show. I got some nib grinds, I got some pens, I got some inks, I have some other stationery stuff. And if you want to see how I prepped for this one, I'll link it for you at the end of the haul today. But I'm ready to show you what I ended up coming home with, get it off this desk. It's just been sitting here for a little bit. And I do want to say it was super fun meeting online friends for the first time and seeing pen pals again that we met last year. I even got a little bit of the vendor experience helping out my pen dealer, Joel, with ink pen vintage pens. I love a behind the scenes look at just about anything, and I really had a good time helping set up for the show, helping break down the show, seeing what other vendors were doing, helping people was super fun. And yeah, it was overall just such a good time. Such a great underrated show. Okay, the first category that I want to talk about are nib grinds. And if you saw the prep video, you know that I had quite a few nib grinds that I wanted to get done. And I got all of them, which I was super excited about. I did have one switcheroo here, but let's start with this one. I am just going to dip here, I think. So this is the Pilot Vanishing Point 30th anniversary matte green Taiwanese edition, and doesn't really matter all of that because I just took the nib unit inside of here and got Matthew Chin pretty much right off the bat before the show actually started. I got 4 nib grinds. But on this pen, I got a cursive italic. And it started off as a medium nib. And now it is a lovely cursive italic. Amazing. He did such a great job. The second one that Matthew did for me was on this Pelikan M600 or 620. Oh my God, I can't remember. I think it's 620 or 625, something like that, in the transparent white. At Stationery Fest, I got an Oxford grind on this by JC at the Nib Tailor, and I just thought it was a little too juicy, and since I was going to be in Colorado, I just got Matt to kind of tone it down a little bit. I'm just going to put 600 for now. And so this one does have a slight upturn on the nib, and that is a characteristic of the Oxford grind. And this does seem now to be a little bit more of a comfortable daily writer for me. So we started off technically as an Oxford grind, and we just sized down a bit. Perfect. Okay, the next 4 grinds are all on Yovo nibs, so I just brought the nib units with me and just swapped them out right there in the seat. I'm sorry, the next 3 grinds, and I already have them marked. I like to mark my nib grinds with different colors so I know what type of grinds they are. I'm actually just going to put it in this pen just because in the Esterbrook just now, in that particular Esterbrook, it seemed a little tight for some reason. So this is the Imperial Nib by Kirk Spirit. And so I have definitely sang the praises of the Imperial Nib multiple times on the channel. It's one of my favorites. And so I wanted it on a nib that I could swap out easily. And this started off as a medium nib, and now it is an Imperial. which is kind of like a cursive italic on the writing side and a broader stroke on the reverse side. This next nib is a katana nib, which was one that I wasn't planning on getting. I was actually planning on getting the Tonto grind, but I like the contrast in this katana nib more. And this is similar to the Naginata Togi grind that I have been enjoying on another pen. So again, I wanted to get it on something that I could use on multiple pens. This started off as a broad nib. Oh, I spelled it wrong. I'm just doing all types of different stuff, but I totally lied to you. So yeah, this is not the katana grind. I was not looking at my list. I have more to show you. This is actually a spear point, which means the writing side is kind of an extra fine line, and then on the reverse, you get a broader stroke. There we go. I was thinking that the katana did not feel like the katana, but I was like, maybe it was the paper, but no, wrong grind. Here, this is not meant to be pretty. This is just for demo purposes. So yeah, I think this will be a great grind when I'm not carrying around a bunch of pens. I can still have my headers and my to-do list and have that distinction between them. Sorry about that. So I guess you know what's coming next, my katana grind. And since this is a Japanese inspired grind, I got it on this nib with the Japanese characters on it from my Bungubox Esterbrook collaboration SD that I have. There we go. So yeah, this is on a Yovo nib. It was originally a medium, and it is a katana. So you can definitely see that we get some nice variation here. I love the way it feels like writing fast. It just feels super comfortable to me, and it's a nice fine line as well. And then the last grind that I got done was on my wedding pen, which is a Bach nib. It has our wedding logo mark on the nib that Kirk Spear did, and he also did this grind as well. This is another Imperial nib. As I said, one of my favorite grinds, and so I just wanted to get it done in a Bach nib and housing unit as well. So that is the writing side. This is the reverse side. And I did find a very nice ink match for the pen, and we'll talk about that ink a little bit later. A little sneak peek there. But yeah, these are all of the grinds that I got at the show. I know 6 nib grinds is kind of a lot, but I knew what I wanted. I knew that it would be easier to get the appointments at this show since it's a smaller show. And so I just wanted to knock out a lot of the nib work that I wanted done. Okay, we have flipped the page here, and let's talk about inks. I know I said on my prep video that I was going for minimal inks. I think I failed in that category. I don't know, you tell me. I ended up walking away with 5 bottles of ink, and 4 of them just were not on my radar on my list, but here we are. The one that was on my list was Waringal Jane Eyre. I had been seeing this around on the YouTubes, on Instagram, and I'm a sucker for a pretty dusty purple, and I thought that this fit the bill but also was legible, and that's always important to me as well. I'm just going to give all of these a quick swatch so you can see them. I'm splattering all over the place as well. The next two that I got, I found in Pen Realm's bargain bins. He, from what I can tell, always has like these bins of like $2, $10, $20 that are just a mix of things. There's pen cases and inks and pen boxes, and it's just fun to check out those bargain bins. You may find a good deal, and I think I did here. So the first one is this Peregrino ink by Venta, which I have a couple of their other inks, one bottle, a couple of samples, and they seem like really great inks. So when I saw this one for $2, I was like, yeah, I kind of have to. And this is really all I had to go off of, but you know, when a deal strikes sometimes, right? It's so vibrant. I don't know. It doesn't seem like a super boring blue, but it's nice and wet. This next one I saw, I'll show you the box. I'll show you what I saw and did not even think twice about the color or anything. I saw Bungubox and I was like, yes, please. So this was in the bargain box as well. This one was in the $20 bargain box. And it's straight from Japan, it looks like. I don't even think I knew. Oh yeah, okay. It does say the ink of the witch. And so that's all I saw. And I was like, yep, I'll take it. Spooky season, whatever. Bungubox, I'm in. And look at that little label on there. I didn't even know what this was going to look like, but it is a very, very dark, deep, wet purple. And if you've been hanging out, you know I like my dark, saturated colors. There we go. We'll get a little bit of the color there. It's so deeply saturated. Okay, where these two were more impulse buys, this next one was so intentional, and it is the Sailor Shikiori Kumakusa. And I went through Drum Ghoul's just binders of inks looking for the perfect match for the like greenish teal on this pen. And I took pictures and I mulled over it. And when I saw this one, I just thought it was perfect. And I'm not even gonna lie, half the fun was just playing pen and ink matchmaker. It's one of the things that I just enjoy doing. Just look how pretty this is. And I have used this ink in the wedding pen for a little bit, and the shading on it is so pretty and subtle that I don't know if I'm gonna unink this anytime soon. Maybe it's Komakusa. And then the last one kind of falls out of this color situation that I have going on so far, but it is another Sailor ink. It is Sailor Afternoon Tea. And this goes with their pens that are tea inspired, but this ink was lightly on my radar, and I don't know, I just felt the urge to just pick it up. It may be the season. It is a very cozy, rusty, orange, but it's like a weird orange. I don't know. Okay, so these are all the inks that I grabbed. I will leave them just right off the side of the frame here so you can see how those dry, and maybe we'll come back to them. But let's talk about some other stationery items that I grabbed. So before the Colorado Pen Show, I was Instagram invited to come and check out Point Creative Supplies, which is this little small loft stationery store in Denver, and he is working on just becoming a Japanese specialized stationery shop. The owner was super nice, and we geeked out a little bit on all of the Japanese stationery. And so I want to show you what I grabbed from there. One of the first things I picked up is this A5 notebook from Midori, and it is dot grid, a very, cardstock type of cover, but the inside, the pages are also this gray color. And fountain pen friendly. I just thought super cool and classy, and just something that I could play with a little bit. So I grabbed one of those. He was also at Stationery Fest and made good friends with Yamamoto Paper, and at Stationery Fest, I was not able to really take the time with Yamamoto Paper as much time as I wanted to, so I did grab a paper tasting sample pack from him, and this does have 3 different paper types in here in 3 different sizes. So we have slite paper. This is slite paper. Wait, no, this isn't slite paper. B7, this is slite paper, so this is wrong. I wrote this, so disregard. Slite paper, Monte Lucia, and Soliste paper back here. So just some different paper to have a little bit of fun with swatching and just seeing how different inks react here. This set is the Eggshell Volume 3 set. I also grabbed a Life Noble Note notebook in A5. It is just a grid notebook. Here we go. Here's his card. Point Creative Supplies, Jason. So yeah, luxurious paper. It's so smooth, such a pleasure to write on. It is a little expensive, like this notebook was $15 US, but I mean, we love our notebooks, right? I also picked up there a pen that is not a fountain pen. I grabbed this Oto gel pen, and I feel like you just have to know that it's special because it's not a fountain pen. He had fountain pens there as well. And so look at the tip of that. It is quite thin, and I think it just is a great purse pen for those times where fountain pens isn't appropriate, like on crappy paper or, just out with the normies. But yeah, it's super smooth. And it still feels luxurious. So I grabbed that and a refill as well. This isn't as exciting, but at Point Creative, I also grabbed the correction tape in the cream color just to match some of the cream notebooks and Traveler's inserts that I have that are cream color paper, and I need to fix a mistake. So this is by Midori, and I just thought that this was a good functional buy, and I grabbed that as well. Heading back over to the Colorado Pen Show, the only non-pen and ink thing that I purchased was from Good Made Better. Good old Dan, he is such a cool guy, and this is his pen well. So you just have this on your desk, and let's say that you have your pen here and you want to use your pen, but it's a whole thing to unscrew your pen. What do you do with the cap? It's not postable, that type of thing. So you just have this on here and you can just screw it out. You can write, you can put it back in there. It's just a convenience thing. And I think it's designed so well. The materials are so sturdy. And I just thought it would be a nice desk thing because not all of my pins post. Sometimes I don't feel like doing all of that. And so, yeah, the Pinwheel by Good Made Better. Speaking of pins and Good Made Better, let's talk about some of the pins that I got at the Colorado Pin Show. The first one, I'm just gonna move this over here. The first one is by Good Made Better as well. This is called the Muse, and it is an ebonite pin. So it has that nice rubbery ebonite smell. And all of this texture, this bark texture, is hand done, which is amazing. And he does have a Kickstarter happening right now, maybe still. I'll link it below if so. But at the pin show, he had just some different colors, and I was very much so taken by this color and this gold brushed grip section, and I got to choose like the gold plated nib, and I just thought it was so cool. This does not post, but goes super well with my new Pinwheel. So I got this one in a broad nib, which is odd for me, but you know, I might want to get some more nib work done, you know. But maybe not because it is so smooth and like just a very awesome broad nib. This is a Yovo number 6 nib, so it is interchangeable as well. Yeah, it's gorgeous. I actually had a really hard time choosing which colorway I wanted. He had so many good ones. So that pen ended up on my want to try list, but I ended up getting it because of the colorway. And yeah, I was just taken with it when I saw it. This next pen was on my wish list. It's been on my wish list for Stationery Fest and this pin show as well, so I finally picked it up. This is the Platinum Century 3776 in the Calico colorway. And I was talking to someone online, and we were just talking about these tortoisey kind of celluloid looking pens, and there's just something very sophisticated and grown lady about these pens, and yeah, I just love it. This is my first platinum besides my short stint with a platinum preppy, but definitely my first platinum gold nib. I hadn't even tried these nibs yet, but Christy, who I met at the show, let me try her fine nib, and then the platinum rep let me try a medium nib, and I was thinking a medium nib is probably more up my alley, and that's what I ended up going with. Just do a quick little writing sample. Maybe not. Yeah, it's so nice. The next two I picked up while vending with ink pen. One was on my wish list and the other was not. So the one that was on my wish list was this Parker Duofold in the pearl and black colorway. This is in the international size, so the smaller size, and this is a vintage pen, but it is a very familiar filling mechanism, the cartridge converter, so that makes it, you know, not as intimidating to own. And I tried one of these at Stationery Fest during the Vintage Pen meetup loved it, and it's been on my wish list since. So I was very excited that my pen dealer, neighbor, and friend Joel had it for me. I forgot to write that this one is a medium nib. This one is a medium nib as well. And I do think this pen is from the 90s. And it just feels very comfortable. It's nice and dainty, but not too small. Believe it or not, I might get this nib ground. Maybe not, I don't know. Sometimes I like to live on the wild side, and something is wanting me to do something to this vintage nib, just for the thrill of it, maybe. Yeah, and I think this ink has a little bit of black in it because I have dipped this before. But look at it. And then this next one literally just was not on my radar at all. It is another vintage pen. It is a pocket pen, which I'm usually not like over the moon about. I like them, but I'm just not like super gung-ho about them, I guess. But look at it. This is the Pelikan M100 in the Stormtrooper colorway, and I just thought it was adorable. It's a piston filler, so we get a little bit more of an ink capacity here. It posts to a full-size pen. It has a sexy black nib, and this came out in 1987, which is a special year for me. Let's do a quick writing sample. Don't want to dip too much because I did read that these are a little more subject to staining. It is an extra fine nib as well, and it actually feels like an extra fine because you know Pelikan sometimes. Yeah, even unposted, it's not, you know, it crosses the crook of my hand at least. So very nice. Very excited about this. Unexpected little pickup, but I'm glad that I grabbed it. So there are a couple more pens, but they come with a little bit of a caveat. So Cam went along with me, my husband, and he's not really into pens, but he has really enjoyed being in the pen show environment. He loves to see people super excited about pens and talking to them about them. He was actually helping at the ink pen table as well. And I'm very grateful to have a partner that's supportive in this crazy hobby. So at the Colorado Pen Show, there are hourly door prizes and you have to be there to claim them. And so we were there most of the day on Friday. Oh yeah, all day actually, Friday and Saturday. And during one of our workshops, Cam won this Sheaffer Legacy pen. And I am assuming that he is gifting it to me. But it's a very nice modern Sheaffer pen with a fine nib. Yeah, and it writes beautifully. I cannot spell anything today. Yeah, I was super excited about this because y'all know I love a weird nib, and the nib unit a little bit reminds me of the Pilot Vanishing Point nib, at least the shape and the writing experience. So we have that. And then at some point I noticed Cam had a pen sticking out of his pocket in his shirt. And I said, wait a second, is that is that the Lamy 2000? And so he pulled it out and he got, unprompted, people, for himself, the Lamy 2000 in pine green. So this is a new release. I have the Lamy 2000 in black, but Cam said, oh, I might treat myself once a year. So he treated himself with the Lamy 2000 in the pine green. Such a pretty pen. I am a little bit envious, but luckily it is just right there. I can pick it up and use it just about any time. So it is his pen, but it's kind of my pen too, right? So he decided what to ink this up with, and he went with Pilot Iroshizuku Byoyu Shogun, because he wanted to match, instead of the green, he wanted to match kind of this gray gunmetal looking clip. And he got it in a fine nib, which I thought was interesting as well, because up until this point, he has been into medium nibs. But this is, you know, it's a Western fine. It is a little thicker, and I think he will enjoy that. Let me know if you're interested in the pens that Cam has. Pens that a fountain pen adjacent person has. I was super excited to see that he grabbed such a nice pen. All right, and we're dry here, so we can kind of see what's going on. So you can see the Wearing Gold Jane Eyre, Venta Peregrino, Bungubox. Ink of the Witch is purple, but it has like black sheen happening there. That's really fun and witchy. We have the Sailor Shikiori Komakusa, which also has very subtle sheen here. And then Sailor Afternoon Tea. So yeah, let me know what you think of the haul. And for funsies, just throw your newest acquisition down in the comments. Very curious about what you've gotten yourself into lately. Thanks so much for watching, and as promised, I will throw you to my little prep and chat, my little pen show journal video about smaller pen shows, why I love them, and how to prep for them. I'll leave that for you right here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one.